Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing another Where Is video, and today I'm going to be talking about Karlie Gusé. And this case has driven me absolutely mad the last couple of days researching it, and I'm interested to see what you guys are going to think about this one because I just can't come up with an opinion. I really can't come up with a solid theory. I know there's going to be opinions all over the place on this. And then towards the end of this video, I will be talking about two other YouTube videos that have gone viral regarding this situation and try to set the record straight on a couple of things. But before I get into telling you about this case, I have some exciting news to tell you about how this channel is going to continue raising money for Thorn in 2020. So I've done a ton of t-shirts to raise now over $50,000 with your guys' help for Thorn, which is an organization that fights against human trafficking and exploitation of mainly children online. It's an awesome organization. I'm so proud of everything we've done for it so far, but I want to keep going and I want to kind of just change it up a little bit. So going into the new year, I'm going to have a permanent design that will always be available across all of my videos, like one consistent design that has done really well in the past selling wise, and I just like it. It's simple, and I want to just try to have one t-shirt for a little while and see how that does. You can also donate just, by using the team link below. But now I've come up with another way to try to raise money for Thorn, and we're gonna see how it goes. If you follow me like on social media or my vlog channel, I talk a lot about small shop owners and small artists online. I wanted to start incorporating it into my channel, and that's why I have this item here. This is something that I really, really love. This was a 2019 astrological planner by The Magic of I. There's so much information in it. If you want to learn more about astrology, 2020 could be your year, friend, and what better way than to learn a little bit each day as you go throughout the year. It basically tells you what to expect based on what's going on in the stars. It has little keys for when things might be good or when you might be thinking about certain things, and it's just a great planner. It's beautifully designed, and they're coming out with a new one for 2020, of course. I loved it so much last year that this year I went to them and I asked if they would be interested in partnering up with me, essentially like an affiliate type of sense, where 20% of all sales generated from this planner using my code will go directly to Thorn. Not only that, but the code gives you 10% off the planner. I thought this was so generous for them to do. This is a really small company, and I was so excited that they got back to me. So get your Magic of I 2020 planner below, and if you use the code Thorn, you'll get a 10% off discount and 20% will go to Thorn. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not making any percent off of this at all. It's the time of year to buy your planner, friends, and I can't tell you how much I love this thing. Now let's get right into this case. So last year, right around the time that Jamie Kloss went missing in October. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I started talking about Jamie Kloss and how she was found and how I made a video on it. And the thing is I can't really include that part anymore because you can't watch that video anymore. It has been removed by YouTube as of right now with their new community guidelines. I have no idea what's really going on. It makes no sense to me, and I'm pretty frustrated. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to know more about what's going on with that. And it was pretty cool to see someone return home. But only 3 days before Jamie Kloss went missing, a girl named Karlie Gusé went missing from California. She is still missing to this day, and there are theories all over the place about what might have happened to her. When this case first came out, there was so much internet gossip and rumor around it that it was really hard to get a clear idea of what happened. It's still hard to this day. Putting this together was an absolute nightmare because everything is all over the place, and the original story that the family told has changed, so that's been really confusing. Like trying to figure out what actually happened was pretty hard, but I think I have a decent idea now of what happened in this bizarre situation. So Karlie was only 16 years old at the time that she went missing. She would be 17 now. As far as Karlie's personality and her life, I could not find that much information. All the articles said, she's a typical teen, whatever a typical teen means. Sources said that she liked to dance, that she liked to hang out with friends and her boyfriend. She had a boyfriend named Donald at the time, and she also worked at an after-school job. Now, Karlie's family had recently moved to White Mountain Estates in Chalfant, California. And let me break down this family for you because I think it's important you understand that first. Karlie's parents are named Lindsay and Zach, but they separated when Karlie was like 2 years old. Eventually, Zach got remarried to a woman named Melissa. And in her early childhood, Karlie actually lived with her mother for a while, but eventually she moved in with her dad, Zach, and Melissa. And they raised her most of the time for the majority of her life. Most of her life before this, she had lived in Bishop, California. But like I mentioned, she had just recently moved to a town pretty close to Bishop, just north of it, called Chalfant. Now, Karlie actually wasn't really fazed by this move. She got to keep, her same friends and stay in the same school district. So it was just like a house change for the most part. And it wasn't like affecting her really badly or anything. So let's go to October of 2018. They have just moved to this new area. And according to Melissa, Karlie's stepmother, Karlie was adjusting pretty well to life there and seemed really happy at the time. She said she had a really naturally positive attitude, and she was just one of those kids who was really upbeat, and she was not worried about Karlie in really any way. So Friday, October 12th, 2018, Karlie is going to be going to a football game with her friends. It's a typical Friday night. They're all gonna go to this football game, a bunch of friends, and it always starts with a football game and ends in other things, right? So she goes to this football game, and Zach and Melissa stay home that night. Zach had worked that day, came home, had a couple beers. It was a Friday night, he's drinking in his house, and Karlie was supposed to be going to this football game, but her group of friends never even made it to the football game. They decided to do other things, so they were just kind of hanging out in the town. But Melissa and Zach thought that Karlie was at the football game, so they were just hanging out at home like normal. They received a call from Karlie, and Melissa said that when she talked to her, she seemed paranoid and scared, and said that she was scared actually and wanted her to come pick her up. According to Melissa, she was actually so upset that she didn't even want Melissa to hang up the phone with her on her way to get her. She was that scared and paranoid. So, Melissa realizes that she didn't go to the football game. She goes and tries to pick her up, and at first she called Melissa and said that she was outside of Highlands Park, which was like a mobile home park, and she was just standing outside waiting for her to come pick her up. But then Melissa got there and Karlie was not there. She actually found her about a mile away, running down a street called Dixon, running down the street by herself at night. The only reason that Melissa even saw her was because her phone flashlight was on and you could see it while she was running along the street. Now, when she found her, she said she pulled up to her. She was by herself. She got in the back seat. She didn't want to sit in the front for whatever reason. And as soon as she got in the car, she told Melissa that she was sorry that she didn't go to the game and that she and her friends had smoked a little green. Gotta keep this YouTube friendly. So Melissa starts realizing, okay, her behavior is because she is on something. Now, as we go on with this story, you're gonna see that her reaction to things was a bit more extreme than someone who is just like stoned or something. She, at some points, is very paranoid, showing hallucinations and saying weird things. And to me, this does not sound like THC only. It sounds like this was something laced, that someone gave her something else. I mean, there are so many possibilities of things she could have been on. I mean, I would name them all off, but YouTube doesn't like that. Anyway, no one knows what Karlie actually took that night, or if she was fully honest about just smoking. So Melissa and Karlie drive home, and when they got home, Zach claims that he could immediately tell that she wasn't just stoned. Something was really wrong with her. She was going back and forth out of like a very strange mental state. At times she would act like she was really scared of them and say, I hate you guys, you're gonna kill me, I'm afraid of you guys. Like, she was saying all this wild stuff to them, and then a minute later she'd be like, I love you guys, I'm so happy I'm home, blah blah blah, and was like switching all over the place, just acting totally bizarre, having what sounds to me like a bad trip. Now, the times have been reported all differently. There are some sources that say Melissa got the phone call from Karlie at 9 p.m. Some sources say they got home at 9 p.m. So I'm not really sure, but when they did get home, Melissa wanted to help, sober Karlie up. So she gave her a power bar and a salad, which is kind of like a strange thing to give someone to like sober up. I guess it's not like she was drinking, but I don't know, just it seems odd. But anyway, she was trying to get her to eat a salad, and Karlie was eating the salad and then she was spitting it out and going, bleh, this is the devil's lettuce. So they noted that she was just acting totally bizarre, and they decided that it was time to start like ramping her down, trying to get her to go to sleep. And as they try to get her ready for bed, Melissa decides to start filming her. Now, this is really good that they did this. This provides a lot of information for investigators, a lot, and it really helps kind of set an idea of what Karlie was like that night. It verifies them saying that she was acting this way. So Melissa basically recorded her like with her iPhone camera, but she ended up not actually taking any video. So it's basically an audio recording just done with the video recorder. And the idea with this was to show her how she was acting in the morning, you know, to basically a life lesson. Don't do drugs again or you're gonna have this bad experience. So I'll get more into the recording later. We'll talk more about that. But that night, Melissa decides to sleep with Karlie because Zach, he'd been drinking a decent amount. He said he was kind of in and out of sleep all night and didn't really know what was going on fully, but Melissa was up with Karlie all night. Melissa claims that Karlie was up pretty much all night, upset, paranoid, just very distressed.
Friday night, I picked up Karlie from town. She was supposed to be at a football game. She had lied to me and told me that she was at the football game. And when she called me, she said she was sorry. I was with friends. I'm sorry. Can you please just come get me? So I drove to town and picked her up. She was by herself. She was very paranoid. She was scared. When we got home, she was still paranoid, almost like extremely stoned. We got home, and then I had her eat. She had a salad. I made her eat a power bar, and she wanted me to spend the night with her. So her brothers were awake, and Zach was awake, and we hung out, and she ate. And then she was like, "Can we go to bed?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, can you come sleep with me?" And I was like, "Yeah. Sure, why not? Whatever. I'll lay with you and watch a movie." We hung out for a little bit in the kitchen, talked a bunch, and then her brothers went to bed, and so then I went to bed with her, and then we got up. I had to go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, wash my face. She was by my side the whole time. She didn't want to leave my side. She was paranoid. We ended up back in the living room with her brothers for a little bit, watched a movie, and she was just still kind of paranoid. And then we went back to bed, and I spent the whole night with her. I mean, I was awake, and then I doze off, and she's just there. She was just hanging out. She was awake. She wanted to paint my toenails. She wanted to color. I was up, and then I would doze off, and I was up, and I would doze off, and she was there the whole time. I was really scared to put this out there because so many people are judgmental.
So she slept with her, and she was texting like Karlie's friend. She was texting Donald, which was Karlie's boyfriend, and asking him to pray for Karlie. We don't really know the context of why, maybe just because she had this bad trip, but a lot of people are concerned about that message. Like, why was she concerned enough to ask for prayers from her boyfriend? Anyway, she sent out the last text message to people at like 5:38 a.m. And that was the last time that she remembers being awake, and she says that she saw Karlie sleeping right next to her, and then she went to sleep. Now, this part of the story has definitely been reported differently or changed over time since this all first came out. But I'm gonna go off of what Melissa says happened to this day, and then I'll kind of back up and explain. Around 7:15 in the morning, she wakes up and notices that Karlie is not in bed with her. She claims she gets up, runs around the house, tries to look for her, and cannot find her. Now I'm going to play a clip of Melissa herself explaining what this moment was like.
Karlie Lain Gusé is missing still. She's been missing since... Breathe. She's been missing since 6:30 a.m. The last time that I spoke to her was 5:30. She didn't take her cell phone. We're coming up on 10 hours, and I'm putting this out there because it's going on 10 hours. I fell back asleep, and then that's when I woke up and she was gone. And I wish I wouldn't have fallen asleep. I was in her bed and she was just gone. And I immediately got up and I looked around the house and I'm just going, where is she? I just don't know. Where the hell is she? And I go and I tell Zach and I say, Karlie's not in her bed. And so just started to panic and got in our cars and just started driving all around. I drove my Corolla out in the boonies over boulders, and Zach took the truck and he took the binoculars, and then, 2 hours was the point where something's wrong.
So after they can't find her by going out and looking for her themselves, around 9:35 a.m., they decide to call Lindsay, Karlie's birth mom, and let her know that Karlie is missing. So Zach calls Lindsay, and the first thing that he says to her is, "Karlie's gone." Now, Lindsay does not take this well. She immediately says that she thought that meant that Karlie was dead, like right off the bat.
"Lindsay, Karlie's gone." My heart sunk. "What do you mean she's gone? What led up to this? Where was she? You know, who was she with?" Question after question. And his response was, "I don't know, she's just gone. She went to a party."
Those were the words
"gone."
that he used.
And it stuck out like just a sore thumb.
Gone.
Gone.
What did you think gone meant?
Dead. I mean, that's a big word.
She thinks that it's weird that he used the word gone and was suspicious about that, which I don't really get. You know, if something was missing from my house, like if my cat, one of my pets was missing, I would definitely be like, "Josh, Meatball, or Bernie, or Sadie, or whoever is gone." I don't think that necessarily means that you know they're dead, but Lindsay took that badly right from the beginning. So as soon as he gets off the phone with Lindsay and she starts heading that way, he ends up calling the police and letting them know that they believe that she ran away, that they had seen her that morning and that she was sleeping in bed, and then she was gone before 7:15, and they think that she just walked out of the house. So the police at first think that this is a runaway who is intoxicated. So not a great situation. So they end up canvassing the neighborhood when they start their search to see if anyone else had seen her leave the house that morning, and they claim to have 3 witnesses. Now, to this day, these witnesses are kind of all shaky. You can't get anything confirmed in this case. It's really irritating. So the first witness was a person who was in an all glass room in a hot tub, like a sunroom, and said that they saw her through the glass. Now, Lindsay, Karlie's mom, has been pretty skeptical about this because she doesn't believe you could like get a good vision out the glass, but that was probably the most serious witness. Then there was a local teacher who had called Melissa and told her she had seen Karlie that morning as well. And then there was a wooder, and he was working on the side of the road, and he claims to have seen Karlie near Highway 6, which is really, really close to their house. And obviously, there's a big concern when it comes to major highways and human trafficking, and that has been a huge concern among this case. Did she go to the highway? Now, all of Karlie's personal items were left at home, like her phone, her wallet, her purse, everything. Right off the bat, they started searching for her, and they really looked everywhere that they could. They deployed multiple resources such as a helicopter, multiple all-terrain vehicles so that they could really get around this area. It's a really rocky, deserty kind of area. They had scent dogs. They formed multiple search parties.
During the early morning of October 13th, 16-year-old Karlie Gusé disappeared from her home in Bishop, California. Lindsay, how are you holding up?
By the grace of God. I don't know how anyone ever has to go through this, does it? But it's got to be by the grace of God.
What happened on the night that she disappeared?
Melissa picked her up from a party, and she came home, and she was really paranoid. They got home, got her settled in, and Melissa tried to console her, and the morning she was gone. Nobody heard her get out of bed. Nobody heard her go through a garage door. Nobody heard her go out the front door, but the front door was ajar.
Did Karlie take her cell phone with her?
No, she did not.
If Karlie is watching this tonight, what do you want to say to her?
Baby girl, there's nothing that you can't say to me or call out to me. Just, please, Karlie, I missed you. I love you. Just keep praying, baby. You're gonna come home.
Lindsay, we're gonna do the best we can to get some answers for you, okay?
Lindsay, Karlie's mom, was around at the house at all this point, but she didn't actually participate in the searches because she said that she was in shock. She was really upset and just couldn't believe something happened to Karlie. And a lot of times people won't participate in searches. Not everyone deals with this the same. There's some victims that like to go out and immediately start searching and they're like super involved, and some people take a different approach. Like, everyone handles the grief of someone going missing differently. But there's been a lot of criticism at Lindsay for not being involved in the search, especially from Melissa and Zach. Like, they did not like that. So initially police thought, she could be just out in the desert wandering around, and that was really how they were looking for her. Maybe she was lost in confused, still on some type of trip. They put up signs all over the area for her, and they had like blue ribbons, like teal ribbons around them to help raise awareness because this was one of her favorite colors. And Karlie's stepmom, Melissa, from the beginning was sharing everything like right away. And I'm gonna put in as many clips as I can of her telling the story. Some people were really critical about the amount of social media that she was doing. I mean, it makes total sense. Social media is a huge tool for missing people. That's why these videos are so important. It's so great that this community has grown so much. But a lot of people were like, are you trying to get attention from this? And you know, Melissa says, no, I just wanted to make sure everything was out there and I was doing my best to raise awareness for Karlie. And due to Melissa's efforts, this case did get out there a lot more, but she was posting a lot and doing live streams all the time. Karlie's mother, Lindsay, and Melissa took completely different approaches to social media, actually, and it did not take long for people to start coming after her for all these little things and inconsistencies, and Melissa became a possible person of interest to the public, like right away. And at first, you know, the families were working together, Lindsay, Melissa, and Zach. They're all focused on finding Karlie, but Lindsay says that right off the bat, she felt like something was weird. And she says that she felt this because she didn't understand why Melissa had recorded Karlie. She thought it was really strange, and then when she heard part of the recording, she was very upset. And I'll explain why. Lindsay asked people publicly not to speculate about a possible abduction. She wanted to not hinder the investigation because I think she felt like something sketchy was going on within the house right away. Actually, that's what she said she was feeling. And so she encouraged people to not go down that road and to not start being like, oh, she was abducted and stuff, which is interesting. And Melissa went a completely opposite direction. And I believe only 10 hours after Karlie was missing, she was already saying, I believe that maybe she was abducted. And this kind of is what started the tension between the families.
We're coming up on 10 hours, and I'm putting this out there because it's going on 10 hours that she's been missing, and I want to put this on blast because I don't think she's out in the desert. I think that she could have been abducted or taken because we do live on the highway, and it happens, and I'm being real. And I just want to let everybody know, I want to put this on blast because I don't know what to do to consider her a missing person. She's 5'7", about 115 pounds. She has blue eyes and the cutest little nose and a great smile, and her hair goes all the way down past her, like to her belly, let's say, mid-waist. And this was last year's picture. Shows you she's a little bit different, but not much. She's still like adorably cute.
Now let's go back to this audio recording, okay? So this video, I guess I should say, has never been released. Other than the police and the family, I believe there's only one person who has heard it, and that is good old Dr. Phil. That's been really the only major coverage of this case. The family went on the Dr. Phil show and they did like a 2-part series, but they really focused it on the drama between Lindsay, Zach, and Melissa. I mean, to be honest, I just really didn't like the way that they dealt with the whole case. I thought it was odd, but anyway, at first, Dr. Phil says that Zach and Melissa did not want to give him the recording for whatever reason. He actually like goes at them a little bit about it.
At one point, you filmed her, right?
But it's just audio because I stuck it in my pocket.
Okay.
So you could show her the next day how she sounded on drugs.
I wanted to hear that tape, but you didn't let us hear that tape. Tell me why. I wasn't.
It's an ongoing investigation still. This is
FBI
ongoing.
have it, the sheriffs have it. I don't think it's gonna solve the mystery of where she is.
Is there a reason that I didn't hear that tape?
Nobody
No.
asked.
No.
No.
Did anybody ask us?
I don't even think
Oh,
anybody
we
was
asked. Yeah, we asked. We were told we couldn't have the tape. Curious
I
why.
mean, you can listen to the tape. I don't want the world to listen to the tape.
Finally, commercial break goes by or whatever, and they have a change of heart. They decide they're actually gonna share this with Dr. Phil. Not the whole world, but with Dr. Phil. And he listened to it, and so that's all we really have is like his interpretation of it.
I'm very glad that you made that recording. What it tells me is, as I said, this was a mind-altering drug. Because of her degree of paranoia, it makes perfect sense to me that she would flee.
And then we also have Lindsay, who said that she has heard most of it, but hasn't heard the whole thing, and what she claims is in the audio. But we don't have a confirmed source of what all was said in that audio, because this is an ongoing investigation. They need to keep some things private. It makes sense. But in this recording, it has been reported that Karlie was talking about wanting to go to church, wanting to read the Bible, things about the devil. Like, she was clearly going back in her mind about like dark thoughts and spiritual thoughts and things that a drug trip could induce. And then we also do know that during the call, Karlie asked Melissa to call 911. The way that this went down, according to Lindsay, is that she said, "Mom, like, Mom, are you there?" And Melissa in the recording says, "No, it's not your mom, it's me, Melissa, silly." And Karlie says, "Oh, sorry, I'm scared." And then at one point, Karlie asks Melissa to call 911. And Melissa says, "Okay, I'm gonna call." And then there's a pause, and then Karlie says, "Well, are you gonna call 911? And Melissa says, "No." And then Karlie says, "Well, why?" And Melissa says, "Because there's nothing wrong." Now, this has been probably the biggest point of contention here, is people saying whether or not Melissa should have called 911, whether they should have brought her to the emergency room. I mean, could something have happened to her? Could she have been overdosing? And that's what Karlie's mom really feels happened. She says to this day that her theory is that Karlie had like a drug overdose during the night, and that Melissa and Zach got rid of her body. And you know, it's pretty out there. There's not like a ton of evidence for this, but it's interesting to know what her mother thinks. Now, a lot of people have been critical of Lindsay as well, because she wasn't as involved in Karlie's life, maybe as much as Melissa was currently, because she was like living with her and everything, and had spent the last few years with her. So people are kind of all over the place with how they feel about these two families and whose side they're really on. So there's been a lot of interest in Melissa and her version of events, because it seemed that somewhere along the lines her story changed. Like, what she originally told investigators versus what she goes with now is totally different. I would like to understand this better, but she doesn't really have an explanation for this. And there's a couple examples of her story kind of changing, and the one I want to focus on is the timeline. In the latest, Dr. Phil episode, Melissa says that she stayed in bed with Karlie all night, fell asleep around 5:30, woke back up around 7:15, and Karlie was not in the bed with her. But when you do a pretty basic search on this case, you'll find a NBC News article that came out like right around this time, and there's other sources that report these type of things too. And it says this: the next morning around 5:45 a.m., Melissa said she went through her usual routine of opening the kids' doors and saying good morning to them. She told Dateline how she saw Karlie in her bed at the time. Melissa said that she went back to sleep for a little bit, but when she woke up a little bit later and opened Karlie's door again, Karlie was nowhere to be found. I went to our bedroom and I said to Zachary, "Honey, she's not here." And he said, "What do you mean she's not here?" And I said, "She's gone. She's not in her room. She's not outside. She's not in the backyard. She's not anywhere." So as you can see, somewhere along the line, the story was changed. Now, whether this was like incorrect reporting or this is Melissa saying things wrong, it's very confusing to figure out what the timeline actually was or what was going on in that house around those early morning hours. So like I said, Zach and Melissa kept that audio recording that they had from Dr. Phil's crew at first. They claimed that they never asked for it, which I don't believe. I'm sure Dr. Phil's crew was like, "Give us this tape, like give us an exclusive." So I don't believe that. They at first refused to give it to them. They finally did. But Dr. Phil also wanted to interview some of the mysterious witnesses that saw Karlie that morning, and they would not give him the information for like the man that saw her from his hot tub room. Like, they wanted to get more of an idea of this person's story, and they would not give out his contact information. And they admitted in the show that's because we don't want to, get them involved until they say it's okay, and we haven't asked them, and some excuse. But it's like, if you have a missing child, why wouldn't you want everyone interviewed, every stone unturned, just be forthcoming with everything? I mean, that's where people have problems and have suspicions around Melissa and Zach. Zach and Lindsay's relationship now is non-existent. Melissa cannot stand Lindsay, Lindsay cannot stand Melissa, vice versa. I'm pretty sure they do not speak at all.
Karlie seemed really confused. You can hear her asking, "Are you gonna call 911?
Lindsay's making accusations. She wants answers, so she's mad because she wasn't a part of it either.
I believe there's evil in Zach and Melissa's house.
It's just a complete lie. We've raised Karlie since she was like 5. I mean, this is ridiculous.
How dare you? Because I'm her stepmom? Because I didn't give birth to her?
Which is really quite sad considering the main focus here is finding Karlie. It would be better if they could work together, but you know, Karlie's mom feels like Zach and Melissa had something to do with it, or they're covering up something, or they're not being forthcoming about something. And when you listen to Zach and Melissa's side of things, they're like, we did everything that we could. We're the ones who raise her. Like, you don't really know what you're talking about. How dare you accuse us of this? So they're on completely different pages. Before I get into some of the theories about what could have happened to Karlie and just walk through the different scenarios, I want to clear up 2 things. These are both YouTube videos, viral things that have been connected to Karlie that many of you have sent to me or asked me to talk about. And I know if I don't address these things that there'll be comments about them. So I'm going to just go ahead and talk about them. The first thing is this YouTube video that a bunch of people sent me, I think without actually watching it. But this was a pretty upsetting thing that happened to the community of people who want Karlie Gusé to be found. This video went really viral. There's 14 million views on it because when you look at this thumbnail, it makes you think that this person literally found Karlie out in the mountains. Like, it has a thumbnail with a red arrow pointing to a red circle and then a picture of Karlie, like with the arrow pointing to the person, suggesting that Karlie is the person in that thumbnail. Now, this video, I don't want to be too critical of it because this guy did end up helping a different situation, but I really don't like the way that they used Karlie to clickbait people. The video is of these guys driving around the mountain area in Hemet, California, and they see this girl outside running around. They decide it's really weird. They call her Ghost Girl. And by the way, this is all sponsored. This is all sponsored. The next day, he decides that he should call, which is like, you should call right away. But anyway, I'm glad he called. He calls 911 and he tells them what he saw. And he says that I think it might be Karlie Gusé because I did some research and I found this girl and she went missing pretty close to this area. Maybe it's her. And the whole video leaves you thinking that he literally found Karlie Gusé outside, especially because she's in the thumbnail. But then in the last minute, he tells you that it actually did end up being a runaway. So it was great that he called. It was good what he did. But it was a teenage runaway who was out hiding in the woods with her boyfriend for 2 days and not Karlie. So I find it really weird to use her as clickbait and to try to take advantage of the situation, especially when it's a sponsored video. I don't know. Really rubbed me the wrong way, but I just wanted to say that video has nothing to do with Karlie. Don't even waste your time watching it. And then I have to talk about this. This is so weird. I think this is the weirdest thing I've ever talked about on my channel. Some of you are gonna be like, why even? But I had to cover this because if I don't, this will be the top comment for sure. And that is the whole Kate Yupp situation. Now, if you have not heard of Kate Yupp, I have been recently introduced to this YouTube channel by a bunch of you guys sending me messages that you think it could possibly be Karlie Gusé. So in 2018, a YouTube channel started called Kate Yupp, and it's an ASMR eating channel. You know, YouTube is a strange place these days, guys. And this channel is this girl who sits down and doesn't talk and eats in one straight continuous cut, extremely fast, a ton of seafood. Like, this is one of the grossest things. I'm gonna warn you, I'm gonna play it and it's a little disturbing. Now, this channel has become like a big conspiracy because the person in the videos wears a blindfold and they do not show like up above their nose. And they eat as if they're almost starving, like so fast. I've never seen anyone eat like this. People have started to think that maybe she is being held captive or being forced to make this content. Now, I don't know about this. I mean, normally I feel pretty weird about these type of things, but this person does not want to be seen like above the nose at all. And this person has sometimes like cuts on her face or a bruise. And ever since people have started speculating this stuff in the comments, it's become this big thing. Is she a missing person being held captive, or is she in an abusive relationship, or what is going on? Because it seems like there's some guy running this channel, like filming her, and people think that she's being forced to do this, and that maybe this person is drugged, or who knows. Whoever is running this channel, whether it's Kate Yupp or someone else, clearly knows that people think this because they've started playing it up. Like, they started putting in titles and capitalizing like HELP on each of the beginning of the sentence to form help, or like they've capitalized SOS at one point. There's been all these like little things thrown in there where they're almost like playing it up. So there's a very good chance that this channel could be someone just knowing that this could be like a viral moment and taking advantage of people being weirded out by the situation, just trying to make things look weird, or something really strange is going on. I don't know, because this channel is very weird to me. I get incredibly creepy vibes from the whole situation. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up in this video is because tons of people think that this is Karlie Gusé. And I'm here to say that this is not Karlie. I will say that this person, Kate Yupp, does look a lot like Karlie, but it just doesn't make sense because their first video was uploaded on June 11th, 2018. Karlie didn't even go missing until October of 2018. This really went viral from this one tweet. I'll put it up on the screen, but this is what really got this theory kicked off. Now, there hasn't been any official statement from police saying anything, but Karlie's Facebook page, which I believe is being run by Lindsay, Karlie's mom, I'm pretty sure it's run by her, made a post. This was the only thing I could see related to this, but they made a post saying, we're aware of the Kate Yupp situation. Law enforcement has checked into it and it's not Karlie. There has been no official report from law enforcement saying this, but because of the timeline, this really can't possibly be her. I just think this YouTube channel is totally weird, and I hope YouTube looks more into it, because if it is a real situation, that's of course really scary, but if it's just someone taking advantage of people and trying to convince someone that there's a hostage or a kidnapping situation, people have done that type of thing on YouTube. It's like a pattern, and YouTube's gonna have to figure out a way to deal with situations like this. Whether it's real or not, it's really upsetting to see, and of course you wonder, there's that chance it could be real, and maybe it is someone being held captive, and it's scary. But I wanted to set the record straight on both of those videos. They're both such viral moments related to Karlie. Neither of them are Karlie. Now, when it comes to theories about Karlie and what could have happened to her, people are all over the place. Really, anything could have happened. It's bizarre. There's one group of people out there who don't think Karlie ever left that house that day, think she died in the house that night, possibly from a drug overdose. And then there's people that think that she left in some type of drug-induced state, or maybe the drugs were affecting her so much that they freaked her out enough to leave, or maybe she was so ashamed by doing these drugs that she decided to leave herself, which feels pretty unlikely to me. Did she run away? Is she still out there? But a lot of people think, and I'd say the majority, think that she still could be out there and could be alive. Because they live so close to Highway 6, that is a huge way that human traffickers get people out of situations quickly, out of areas quickly. Get on a major highway and they're gone. And people getting sold into human trafficking happens so much more than we would like to admit. It's constant in this country. It happens in Walmarts, it happens in empty parking lot, definitely near highways, and someone could have easily seen Karlie in an upset state and taken advantage of her and taken her somewhere. And if she's in that world of human trafficking, she's likely still alive and out there somewhere. Or she could have been abducted by just some weirdo and taken to their house and kept there. Zach and Melissa feel like that's the most likely scenario, that someone picked her up from around the highway and took her somewhere. Her family still, more than ever, needs eyes on her, needs you to memorize her face in case you happen to see her. People have been rescued from human trafficking. It does happen. Thorn rescues tons of people from human trafficking, tons of children. That's why I want you to buy one of these planners. Go get it now. You need one. Treat yourself. It's 2020. Let's get our shit together next year. I think there is a pretty decent chance that that's what happened, and it's really scary and it's just sad. I feel so sad for the family that they have all this tension, and there's, a lot of broken hearts here and hurt feelings, and all this internet rumors and gossip and all that just doesn't help. Main concern here is Karlie, and where is Karlie? So I'm putting her picture up again on the screen. Do not forget this face. This is Karlie Gusé. She went missing on October 13th, 2018 in the early morning hours from the Mono County, California area. If you have seen Karlie or have any possible information, please call the Mono County Sheriff's Office at 760-932-7549.
We are no closer to finding Karlie. This is a missing person investigation, but we are considering every possibility, and we treat this investigation as we would any serious criminal investigation. Karlie, if you are hearing or watching this, please know that your family loves you and wants you to come home.
My letter is to Karlie. It was exactly 1 year ago today that I received your last text, not knowing it would be the very last time I heard from you. 2 days after that, I got the call that made this whole world go dark. The news that my sweet rainbow baby had gone missing. I have so many questions, Karlie. I hold on to hope that maybe someone does have you, that they will see the catastrophic damage this has done to our family.
These 363 days without knowing anything of where you are or what happened to you has been miserable, and life hasn't been the same at all without you. I miss your laugh. I want so much to see your beautiful face again and hold you in my arms. You are my little girl and always will be to me. As for me, every second of every day that I don't know what happened to you is already extremely difficult. All of your brothers and family miss you so much and want you home.
This case leaves me feeling so frustrated and confused. I would really like your opinions. What do you think happened to Karlie? Do you think she's still out there? Let me know below, and that's it for me today, guys. I hope you're having a great day. Stay safe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.
Where'd you go? Seems like it's been forever.